I also want to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I am delighted to be here representing Suncorp today. We are a proud Queensland company. We know there are lots of great Queensland schools and others, but equally I'm delighted to be here in my local town. I live in Melbourne. We are all across Australia, as I'm sure many of you know. So as well as the Suncorp brand, we have a range of other brands. The Amy brand, of course, we proudly partner with the SES down here, Apia, GIO, Shannon's, just to name a few. As a leading insurer, we do see the impacts every year, year after year, of natural disasters. And all our research tells us that even small scale events can have a very large impact, financially, emotionally, and physically. This year alone, we've even had a tornado in New South Wales, an earthquake here in Victoria or Melbourne, and currently, as has been mentioned a couple of times, there's incredible flooding right across the East Coast. In fact, we heard from our SES friends a little earlier today that we might actually even have some bad weather heading down towards Victoria this weekend. And equally, we know that there is no one in this room that we need to convince that we need to put more focus on disaster mitigation and resilience rather than disaster cleanup. The Minister mentioned those figures earlier from the Productivity Commission. Earlier this year, we launched a really interesting project called One House. We call it One House to Save Many. And it's where we partnered with experts from James Cook University's Cyclone Testing Station, the CSIRO, and Room 11 Architects to design and test one of Australia's most disaster resilient homes. The point of this project was to create a conversation built on the need to recognise that we do need greater resilience in our building standards so that our homes are built to withstand our increasingly severe weather events, minimising the impacts to communities as well as individuals. For now, we continue to call on the government to take those steps, for example, in a review of building standards, which just have not kept up with the changes in weather that we're seeing. Equally, we're doing our part. For example, we have Australia's first cyclone resilience benefit, which provides discounts for customers who proactively improve the resilience of their homes. And we've also backed this up in areas like Roma in Queensland, where we've seen insurance premiums fall significantly through infrastructure projects there, for example, the building of a levee. We know that resilient communities recover faster, which is why this is so important. And it is why we are just so proud to be associated with these awards. And I'm now going to move on to announcing the finalists. There's a number of state finalists. You are all winners already, but we have 3 highly commended. And then, of course, the winner of the Suncorp Resilient Australia National Community Award. For this year's awards, there were 36 projects submitted, and as I mentioned, 7 state winners. I have to say, all finalists should be extremely proud of the work they have done. And looking through the details, I was incredibly inspired at just the extraordinary innovation and ingenuity that we see. The finalists for the Suncorp National Resilient Australia Community Awards are Royal Far West in New South Wales for their project Royal Far West's Bushfire Recovery Program.
Great organisation.
Save the Children Australia here in Victoria for their project Journey of Hope. The Australian Red Cross Queensland for their project Disaster Resilience in Called Communities. Community Legal Centres in South Australia for their project Community Legal Centres South Australia Bushfire Community Legal Project on Kangaroo Island. Townsville, there also seems to be something in the water up in Townsville, doesn't there? With the Community Rebuild Project, as well as Rant Arts Tasmania for their project Minds Do Matter, and EAS EWA Western Australia for their project of the same name. All of our finalist projects are profiled on the AIDR website, and I'd really encourage you to take a look through if you get the opportunity. So our first highly commended award in the Suncorp Resilient Australia National Community Award goes to Save the Children Australia here in Victoria for their project Journey of Hope. Lots of applause there for our worthy winners. Journey of Hope is an evidence-based program that helps children build resilience and develop new ways to cope with worry and anxiety in the aftermath of a disaster. And this program was delivered in regional Vic and New South Wales in areas affected by the devastating 2019-20 bushfires, as well as sites in metropolitan Victoria throughout COVID. Between July 2020 and May 21, Journey of Hope has reached over 5,000 children in 80 schools. So we have Catherine Harris, the Director, Victoria, New South Wales and Australia. And I'd like again to congratulate Save the Children for this very important program. Our second highly commended award goes to the Australian Red Cross Queensland for their project Disaster Resilience in Called Communities. To support called communities enhance disaster resilience while contributing to generate more culturally inclusive disaster management, the Australian Red Cross implemented a 2-year project focused on volunteer mobilisation, community engagement, capacity building, advocacy and research. And the award is being collected by John Richardson, National Resilience Advisor with the Australian Red Cross. Congratulations to the volunteers from the Australian Red Cross. Such a great program helping our called communities. Our final highly commended award goes to the Community Legal Centre South Australia CLCSA for their project Bushfire Community Legal Project on Kangaroo Island. Yes, of course. This project sees a dedicated legal officer deliver community-led, regular, free, accessible and trauma-informed face-to-face legal help to remote areas of South Australia devastated by those terrible Black Summer bushfires, which obviously impacted Kangaroo Island particularly badly. It's an incredibly unique and innovative project and involves rethinking and recalibrating how the community legal sector delivers outreach rurally. I think we have Holly McCoy, who's a solicitor with the Community Legal Centre. No, unfortunately the border changes, as we've all been living with, have precluded that. But I really want to acknowledge and thank the volunteers from Community Legal Centre South Australia for this award. And now it is with great pleasure that I announce the winner of the 2021 Suncorp Resilient Australia National Community Award, which goes to Royal Far West New South Wales for their project Royal Far West Bushfire Recovery Project. The Minister is particularly pleased. We have here Chris Anderson, Jackie Emery and Sarah Eagland from Royal Far West collecting their award. Very happy group, as you can see, and so they should be. The Black Summer bushfires of 1920 affected many people, but imagine being a child, separated from loved ones fighting fires, seeing the destruction, but not having the words to express the feelings, listening to adult conversations, but feeling excluded. Following consultation with impacted communities and experts in disaster recovery, Royal Far West designed a program supporting the wellbeing and resilience of children, reducing the likelihood of long-term adverse effects. The program has been delivered by multidisciplinary health clinicians, and it's now been rolled out in over 30 communities, supporting more than 3,000 children through group programs, individual therapy, and capacity building. And I know that we have a short video about the project.
Hi, my name's Chris, and I'm here with my colleagues from Royal Far West. We are a mixture of social workers, psychologists, speech pathologists, and occupational therapists. We're part of the team working on the Bushfire Recovery Program. We feel honoured that the program has been selected as a finalist for the Resilient Australia Community Award.
We want to start by saying thank you to all the schools, preschools, and communities we've been working with. We've seen firsthand your courage, strength, and commitment. This allows the program to have the greatest impact. Following the bushfires, we wanted to help give children a voice because they also have a story to tell following disasters, and they need to be included and supported in the recovery process.
So what is the Royal Far West Bushfire Recovery Programme? Well, it's a community-based programme and it's delivered through primary schools and preschools, supporting children under 12. We work with children, but also those key adults around the child, all the important people in their life. We can offer a range of services such as group work, individual therapy with children, also support sessions with educators and parents. We let the school and preschool choose exactly what's going to be most helpful to them.
We've been working all over New South Wales in over 30 bushfire impacted communities, from Eden and Wyndham in the far south to Emmaville and Waitalaba in the far north, from our tiny schools of 8 students to our larger schools of more than 500 students.
So we're all psychologists and occupational therapists from the Bushfire Recovery Program at Royal Far West. And we've been joining the communities on community visits, delivering group programs for children and students, and educator workshops and parent workshops. And then for us as OTs and psychologists, we've also been following up with individual therapy over telecare as well.
There have been many partners which have made this program possible, too many to list, but we'd like to give a special mention to our initial funders and primary partners, UNICEF Australia and Paul Ramsay Foundation, our current funders, the New South Wales and Federal Government, Charles Sturt University, they're supporting the evaluation of the program, HP Australia, Little Wings and Give It Foundation.
So, on behalf of Suncorp, it is my great pleasure to present to Chris, Jack and Sarah this enormous cheque, but we will actually ensure that you get the money so that you can really continue to do that very important work. So congratulations.